In this video, I want to talk about some things that I purchased thinking that they would make me happy, but turned out not to make me happy. These are just things that didn't deliver. When it comes to money and happiness, I do think that there can be a correlation between what you spend your money on and how happy you are. So if you're spending your money on workout classes, dates with friends, experiences versus spending your money on a lot of takeaway, clothes that you buy with this idea that they'll bring you happiness, but they don't. One of those is gonna make you happier than the other. I actually made a whole video on what you can purchase that will enhance your quality of life, that will make you happier. I'm gonna have that linked up here and down below. I talk about all the things that you can spend your money on that will actually make you happier. But before you watch that, I'm gonna talk through 6 things that I really thought would make me happy that didn't make me happy, that I spent a lot of money on. The first being a lot of nights out when I was ages like 18 to 21. So I feel like when I look back at this, I do look at it with like the opposite of rose-colored glasses. I probably see it as worse than it was, but what I can remember is I was a trainee, I was earning so little money, and I was spending a lot of it every weekend going out with people that I didn't really like, spending a lot of money on vodka raspberries, a lot of money on club entry fees. Going out is expensive. If you've watched this channel for a while, you'll know that I like sit higher on the introvert scale, so a club isn't like my idea of a good time. I think when I look back, a lot of it was me just trying to be like normal and accepted. At the time, I remember I was hanging out with my friends' boyfriends' friends who, fingers crossed, aren't watching this video. I don't think they would be. But I very much did not fit in with these people. I think they would vouch for that as well, like for sure. They weren't really my kind of people. I wasn't really their kind of people, and I was trying very hard to just like fit in with that kind of vibe, and I go out with these people and there was so much money spent just trying to feel like I was cool and normal and accepted. If I've learned anything from reflection, it's that if there's something that everyone does that seems to be just the normal thing to do, but it's not your thing, like, it's okay. Don't do it. You don't need to be doing the same things that everyone else is doing. If that's not how you enjoy spending your time, like, that's okay, especially if it costs you a lot of money and you're earning trainee wages. The second purchase is formal, so we're really going back here. So my mom actually purchased my formal dress, forever thankful for that. I remember being very excited. Secondly, we're going back in time again, end of school formal schoolies. So where I live, we have an event that happens after you finish school, and that is schoolies. I think everywhere has like their own version of this. Basically, it's just like all of the young people go to one place, Surfers Paradise, and congregate, we drink a lot. That's the kind of vibe. I remember when I went to schoolies, we hid down an alley, we were drinking UDLs, we got caught by the police. Thankfully, there was a boy there and he took the charges, if there were charges. We all had to chip in to pay a fine. It was expensive. And also, schoolies just like wasn't that good of a time. If I were to talk to a teenager now, I'd say 100% like save up the same amount of money and fly yourself to Bali and have a way better time there. And the other end of school experience was formal, just in general. I didn't have like a super close high school, like everyone wasn't really close with each other. So formal itself was a very expensive ordeal and probably not really that worth it. There are better ways to celebrate end of school. In general, no regrets. It is what it is. But it's also a very expensive, not that great time. The next one is one that I never would have expected to be on this list, and it's probably the biggest one, and that is my investment property. So I decided to purchase an investment property when I was younger. I think I was probably 22, maybe 21. I definitely made the purchase thinking that it was a purchase that would enhance my quality of life, that would make me a more adult human being. Also, like, it sounds great. Oh yeah, like I just have an investment property. If I were to do it all over again, I wouldn't not buy an investment property, but I certainly would have waited to purchase one. So when I bought my investment property, put down a 40K deposit. I borrowed 30K from my parents because I wanted to avoid the mortgage lender's insurance fee of 10K. I paid off my parents in a year. So lucky that I was able to get a loan from them just to acknowledge my privilege. But if I were to do it all over again, I would have saved a deposit of a way higher amount, like 100 to 200K minimum. So the amount of interest that I pay off on my investment property actually matches the amount that I put down on my investment property. So I pay $1,000 to reduce the loan. I also pay $1,000 interest, which is wild. And I knew that going in, but I think once you're actually in it and you see your bank account statements, you just feel this sense of like, oh, why? But you do forget the stressful side of owning an investment property, like when things come up and you need to repair them. So for example, I had doors that were quoted at 7 grand to fix. I had like 5 of those doors in the house. Stressful. It's definitely given me a lot of responsibility. I've learned a lot about myself through owning an investment property, but if I were to do it all over again, it was silly to put such a small down deposit on the apartment when I could have just waited, saved up, way more of a deposit and then purchase so those weekly repayments were less, because it's just resulted in a lot of lost money. The next purchase that I thought would make me happy but didn't was filling my apartment with IKEA furniture. I think everyone does this. It's just gonna make the list. When I moved out to my first apartment, I just got really excited and I was like, I need furniture instantly. Went to IKEA, bought a whole bunch of furniture, didn't wait and invest in quality pieces, didn't really mood board it out or anything, and I ended up with a ton of furniture that I've now gotten rid of through either selling it or donating. IKEA does also have like high-end furniture that's a little more expensive and a little bit higher quality. I didn't go for that furniture. I had the little IKEA plot plans. I feel like we've all had those at one point in our life. I think my desk was from IKEA, my side table, my coffee table. This is kind of what the apartment looked like. Gradually, you guys have seen me pretty much replace all of my old furniture, and it does feel very wasteful. I guess I didn't spend that much money in the beginning, but you're probably better off waiting and investing in those quality pieces over time. If you need to fill your house with furniture just because you have a need for furniture, I'd probably go for second-hand furniture if I were to do it again, and then just sell it off as I gradually invested in more high quality pieces. The next purchase that I thought would make me happy but didn't is going through a flight agent. So for Luke's 30th birthday, I bought him a trip to Bali. I bought our flight tickets to Bali. And in the card, I wanted it to look, you know, a little bit fancy. And I wanted him to be able to open it and have a voucher as opposed to just me like sticking some money in there or saying, we're going to Bali. So I went to a flight agent, which I won't name, and I bought a voucher. It comes in a nice little envelope. It's all nice and branded. It's all very official. To give you some context, the reason that you see so many Australians on Instagram going to Bali is because it can cost $300 to $500 for return flights if you're lucky, and sometimes less. Most people I know will pay around that price range for their Bali flights. So after purchasing this gift voucher, I don't know how much it was for. I confidently walked into the flight agent and I was like, yep, let's get a flight to Bali. Ended up walking out paying $2,000 for 2 return flights. So that's $1,000 each. It did include insurance, but still. I've actually worked with someone whose son worked at the flight agency that I purchased from, and she told me that they are told to look at their screen at the number that is already bumped up and then look at you and tell you a different price. Bump it up by a few $100s. They need to make money. Totally get it. I don't know why I didn't say anything at the time of handing over the money. I think I was just a little bit shocked and I was like, okay, well, that's all there is. Anyways, half an hour later, I ended up looking up on Skyscanner flights to Bali. I found a price that was way lower and I ended up calling them and getting a refund. So it worked out fine. But in general, I would say don't go to flight agents, or if you're going to go to a flight agent, hold up your phone and show them the flight that you want to purchase so they can purchase it at the same price and they're not jacking it up by a ton. Lesson learned. The next purchase is video DIYs and clothing. So if you guys have followed my journey for a long time, you'll know that I actually kicked off on YouTube as a fashion YouTuber. The reason that I did that is because at the time, pretty much all of the females that I followed on YouTube were fashion YouTubers. So it was kind of all that I knew. I was a bit more into clothes then. But I remember when I first started doing YouTube, I felt like there was so much pressure to have new clothes. So I did a lot of thrifting back in the day. And I remember being like, yep, I'm gonna thrift every single week so that I can have a big thrift haul of a monthly basis. And I remember buying from sites like Misguided and Boohoo and just buying excessive amounts of clothes. A lot because I was like, yes, these clothes are gonna make me happy, which is just not the case, as we know. But I think a big influence on those purchasing decisions was like, okay, I have this fashion YouTube channel, I need to buy all these clothes so that I can do this big haul. And the other side of that, in terms of buying things for YouTube, I used to do a lot of DIYs. I know, things have changed so much. I used to do like DIY chokers, DIY jewelry, that kind of stuff. And I remember spending like upwards of $100 on these videos. And I was a small YouTuber. I didn't have the resources to be spending that much money on these DIY videos that didn't get that many views, but I did it anyways. So much of the stuff I didn't end up using. So many of the clothes that I bought just were not like high quality pieces. My whole look on clothing has completely changed since then. So it's really weird to look back and think about all of those crappy clothes that I bought and probably ended up donating or just completely getting rid of. Nowadays, I buy a lot less. There are definitely no like mass hauls from ASOS, although I do like a bit of a quarterly shop or sometimes in between if there are pieces that I really, really want or need. But there's so much more thought behind all of my purchases and all of my clothes go together, whereas before I just buy a bunch of things and nothing would really work together. I didn't have a personal style defined at all. I kind of got that through decluttering, minimizing, going through the 30 Days to Simplify challenge that I created for you guys. I'll have that link down below, going through KonMari, it really all came from there. And since then, it's allowed me to be so much more intentional in my purchasing, not just for clothes, but also for everything. So if that's something that you're interested in after watching this video, I have a few videos on KonMari, intentional spending, that kind of thing. I have my video on minimalism and money linked on the screen and down below. I appreciate you guys so much, and I will see you soon.